So this is the Dolmenwood Atlas. This is a website that I built, or Claude helped me build, to manage my online semi-open table West Marches style Dolmenwood game that I'll be playing with my friends. So this first page is the map page. The map page, as you can see, has a list of hexes, and you can click in each hex to see a little more detail about it. Some of this is available to players, some of this is GM hidden, but things would include things like points of interest, agenda, notes, etc. You can see here I'm going to be revealing these tiles as the players explore them. Different tile types have kind of different colors and patterns. And then I'm going to add a point of interest. Again, players could do this too, but as a GM, I'm going to do it for them initially on this tile. Add this Tower of Frost, slide it onto the hex, move it around, and then I'll need to reveal it so they can see it. But again, players can do this too as they discover and make interesting expeditions into these hexes. Each of these tabs at the top is a different layer as well, so you can kind of draw, and this is a live updated whiteboard that all players can see in real time. They can add pins, drawings, text labels, etc. And each of the layers are independent of each other, so while some information will persist, they can kind of click between them and you see like highlights, for example, for point of interest, and those are the tiles that have points of interest attached to them. And then if they need to see more, they can always go to the directory. And that's kind of the full list of everything that they've highlighted so far and added to the directory. So we'll switch now to the characters tab, where you can create a new character, or if you have existing characters, manage the ones that you've already created. I'm actually going to switch here to the company page just so you can see one of my players' pre-existing characters. And as you can see, this is just essentially the printed out Dolmenwood character sheet, but in virtual form. Not a lot of automation. I do have the modifiers change automatically with the ability scores, but otherwise, most of this needs to be done manually by intention. I want players to know what their characters do and copy paste or write it in deliberately. The spells are kind of the one exception just because there's so many spells and so much content that I do allow players to kind of import them automatically, but they can still add new ones that they either discover through play or create manually if that is their desire. If we go to the gear tab, you can see the other automation. That big one that's in place is the auto calculation of speed based on the amount of slots they're using. As they add more slots, speed goes down. Now we'll look at the calendar page. This is heavily inspired by Fantasy Calendar. As you can see, every day it auto rolls the weather for the day based on the season and month and all of that. It matches the Gregorian calendar as well, so that we can tell, in today's date, what date it is in Dolmenwood and vice versa. Kind of look forward and backward that way. It has all the feast days, etc. I'm going to come back to that page in a moment because I want to show the adventure log first, which has the list of jobs that I post available as the GM, as well as rumors or anything else the players might be interested in. Obviously, the players are free to kind of pursue whatever interests them. So this is an example of the players creating an adventure for themselves. Obviously, they'd be scheduling with me offline to make sure that I'm available for that date. But assuming I am and they have a big enough crew, they'll go ahead and create that adventure into the adventure log and schedule it ahead of time, pull down from this giant list of hexes to make sure that they have the right starting location. We'll just go ahead and click through this. I'm going to show a kind of fun feature, though, why the calendar matters as well, which is let's add a character to this adventure, and then we're going to go ahead and set this adventure into in progress. We're going to pretend it's the night that we're playing, and we're going to assume that this adventure actually took, a couple days to complete in game, and so it won't actually be done until, in this case, May 16th. Hit save. If we go back to the calendar now, what we're going to see is that the character that went on the adventure is actually shown on that adventure on the calendar for those couple days, so we know that character is unavailable for any other sessions. This is the game table, has a real-time dice roller that all players who are logged in can see at the same time. Also has this kind of mapping functionality similar to what's on the map page, but this is for dungeons specifically. And so players, again, in real time, seeing each other's updates, like a Figma or Jamboard, can go ahead and draw these dungeons for themselves as I describe them. And importantly, they can save them to, an individual character, presumably the one with the quill and parchment paper. And so that's the character that's doing the mapping. Hopefully that character makes it out alive, so that they can then return this map to the company's inventory. And so we can see as we tab over, if I click the right buttons here, if I tab over to that character and look in their inventory, we're going to see that they are carrying that map. And then, assuming they make it back down, they can then stash that map in the company's inventory so that another character who would return to that dungeon in the future can use it. Last but not least is the Dungeons tab. This is a little quick roll up of a dungeon in case I need it. GM only view, but it lets me quickly put together a dungeon based on some helpful community tables that I've stolen and to use. And then that will allow me to quickly put together something on the fly if necessary.